Do you want to see more railguns? Half-Life. This Gauss gun is possibly the most unsung hero in the series. We've got semi-reflective shots, a satisfying charge-up fire that can penetrate enemies and walls, with area damage, and its own brand of horizontal rocket jumping. It's got a kick, alright. The model looks realistically mean and sounds incredibly threatening to fire, not just for enemies but to yourself as well. And don't hold that trigger too long. What I love the most is that charge-up shot, which is why it's in the railgun category. With excellent unique sound and animation, it's especially satisfying to one-shot Half-Life's relatively reactionless enemies, so you don't get that annoying feeling of shooting humanoid blocks of concrete. You can two-shot choppers too, exactly how a railgun should perform. While technically this is a particle beam gun, it's very much intended as a railgun type, originally referred to as a hypervelocity projectile weapon in the game files, and it gets a highly respectable 9 out of 10. Requiem Avenging Angel. Pretty much one-shots everything you come across in each level, jibbing with extreme inertia. Such power feels floaty light, however, due to a lack of special effects or player pushback, for example. It's all very minimalistic, but in a bad way. It looks ugly and has very minimal animation qualities. At least the sound is appropriately strong, if not a little generic. I tried to blow off individual limbs, as I know this game's enemies feature dismemberments to its credit, but they always just vaporize entirely. Quake 3 Arena. Just including some footage, as multiplayer games are not valid for inclusion in the series. As much as I love them, I need a proper campaign and fully designed enemies to shoot for fair judgment.
Lead tied, 2 rails, impressive. Taken, 2 flags in 2 seconds. Lead excellent, impressive.
Perfect Dark. How far ahead of its time it was. The Farsight is a legendary weapon that introduced the most impressive X-ray vision wall penetration shots to grace an FPS. A revelation at the time. You're given this gun in just one campaign mission, which itself is half filled with chicken-sized enemies that are pretty darn difficult to hit, even when using the enemy-seeking alternate aim mode. But man, it was such an amazing feeling to get one up on the enemy by shooting them through solid walls. Payback for all those times you got jumped after opening a door. Oh, and forget about any level of auto-aim, that's off on all difficulties, so when you land a hit with this thing, it's a big deal as you can't easily use the X-ray view to fine-tune shots on the run. The gun is also a puzzle-solving tool, requiring you to blast energy shields hidden behind these walls. It's something the devs could have explored more. Good news is, as well as the multiplayer, this weapon is made available in all levels by completing a speedrun of the level it's found within, so I'm happy to consider this weapon's application outside of that one level.
What the hell?
Sitting back and picking off an entire building's worth of enemies has its charm. The weakest aspect for me is the shot itself, as it's just a tiny little green tracer round similar to most other guns. They should have tried to stretch this out into a visible beam or something at least. I thought that back then, and I still think it now.
Oh my god. Me.
But I forget about all that when I see its reload animation.
Auto defenses will really help me out.
So cool! So it's not perfect, but in no way a flawed device. Red Faction. I love this. Seeing it again in 4K 60 with the help of the excellent Dash Faction Improvement mod has reminded me why I fell in love with fictional FPS weaponry. A breech-loaded railgun is an excellent design. You really understand you must nail each shot between the excellent reload animations. It's a mix of old-fashioned and glow-up sci-fi that looks and sounds the absolute part. That extra screech when piercing through a nearby wall is nerve-tingling. Like Perfect Dark before it, we have a very neat X-ray scope, just close range this time, which is more intuitive in a firefight.
Code yellow alert. Intruder in triangle system. Security response level 2.
The only gripe I have is that the game didn't introduce the gun earlier before sending the heavies your way with equal firepower. Just give me one level at least to terrorise them punk guards, then up the ante after that power trip.
Give up now!
As a result, you will get one-shotted a lot, which is a real killjoy. That aside, it's without doubt one of the best railgun designs you will see in this series, and a must-play for FPS fans. Aliens vs Predator 2, a competent big boomer that the devs couldn't seem to decide on calling it a railgun or sniper rifle. Those ammo slug packs confirm what it is. It's not a good fit for this game as enemies typically move at lightning speed, so forget about lining up multiple targets, with just the oversized Praetorian the intended mark for this armor-piercing weapon. Enemy destructibility feels especially nice when you 180 snapshot no-scope crack open a Xeno. But it's another dev seemingly unsure how to approach the railgun design. Please consider supporting on Patreon. I love it!